Hey guys, Scott Panchik here at CrossFit Mentality with my brothers Saxon and Spencer Panchik. Today we're going over a master class in rowing technique, particularly learning how to row through fatigue. All right guys, so first we're gonna start with Saxon here on the rower. As he's strapping his feet in, we're looking to bring that strap right across the bottom lace of his shoe. And what that does is that gives him the ability to move his feet up and down on that platform. When he goes to set his damper setting, I always recommend starting right in the middle, around a 5 or a 6. 10 is going to feel like you're running up a hill. And then if you put it all the way down at 1, it feels like you are going down a hill. Grabs the handle to start his initial row. It's important that we get the fan roaring. So what we want is he's going to grab the handle, he's going to drive hard with his legs and give a couple quick pulls and get that fan roaring. And what that does is his stroke rate's gonna shoot up for a split second, and then we're gonna settle into a comfortable stroke rate. And then from there, you'll notice as Saxon is rowing, he's going to pull that handle all the way up to right around his sternum, and then he kind of drops it into his lap a little and returns forward. What we don't wanna see is the chain bouncing up and down. We wanna keep that chain nice and smooth as we come forward. Now Saxon is rowing and doing a combination with thrusters. And what you'll see is what we want to focus on is keeping our heels down on the platform, because that will make the movement on the rower a little more hamstring versus letting the heels come up off the platform as being more quads. So with it being paired with a movement like thrusters is a movement that just blasts our quads. And when he gets back on that rower, his quads are going to be fatigued. When you start pairing rowing with other exercises, like a dumbbell thruster or a dumbbell snatch, the movement's going to change. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out how to recover on the rower. And if you look at Saxon first, Saxon was doing dumbbell thrusters. He was actually keeping his heels down and hinging a little bit more in the hip as he came forward on the row. And then Spencer was actually, his heels were coming up off the platform, and he was using a little more quads. Depending on what we're doing in CrossFit will depend on how we row. Even if you notice when these guys first started rowing, they were leaning back a little bit. And as they progressed, they started to stay a little more upright. That 1 made it easier to breathe. And then 2, it also is a little less fatiguing on their midline, which they're trying again to recover on the row. The other thing I want to talk about here today is the positioning of your knees as you come forward and backwards on the row. So if you notice as Saxon brings his butt forward, you'll see his knees and his hands are on the handles. What you're gonna notice is his knees are inside of his arms. And as he drives back, they're not collapsing in, and when he comes forward, they're not pressing out. And what we want is those knees to almost come up a little bit near the inside part of your armpit. And what that does is that gives us a very powerful position as we drive our heels into that platform and pull the handle on the rower. The common flaws that I see in a CrossFit gym mostly when we're doing rowing workouts is knees collapsing in as they're driving back out of the platform. And then also knees flaring out as they come forward to create space for their stomach and maybe even to breathe. So one of the other things I want to talk about is the damper. As we set that damper, the higher the damper is, the more bang for your buck you get when it comes to calories. So it's way more fatiguing on your quads and your hamstrings, but I'm pulling way less. So one of the pieces of data that is on our screen is S/M, which is strokes per minute. Now, the faster I'm rowing, the more strokes that are happening, higher that stroke rate is. The lower that number, the lower our stroke rate is, and typically that means that I'm pulling slower versus faster. Now, when we are rowing for calories, I like to bump my damper up slightly to a 6 into a 7 and try to find a good pace that could range anywhere from 25 to 30 strokes per minute. If you're rowing for a long period of time, your stroke rate's going to drop significantly. It's gonna be in the lower 20 to 25 strokes per minute. But this really depends on you as an athlete. It depends on your height. Someone shorter is going to be likely taking more strokes than someone that is taller. So it's a preference. And for me personally, I like to row at a pace of about 28 to 32 strokes per minute. And that allows me to not fatigue my legs. All right, guys, that concludes our rowing masterclass. And remember, fueling before a workout is key. We use UCAN to keep our foot on the gas.